Can you say hi to everyone? Can you say hi?
Bye.
Welcome back to my channel, guys. I know it's been like 10 months and a lot went on in my life that I never expected to happen, but I'm here to make a video and explain everything that has happened to me in the year 2022. Anyways, if you guys do hear a loud noise 24/7, it's because of this one right here. Can you say hi to everyone? Can you say hi?
Can you sit? Can I paw? Thank you. Now can you go somewhere else and Mama can film her video? Please? Okay.
Anyways, this video is gonna be about my brain tumor and how I found out I had a brain tumor. And before we get on to it, yes, I am sitting on the floor. I wanted to make this video kind of cozy and vibey, even though it's kind of a sad story, but you know, trying to keep things positive. So let's get into my video. I did write a bunch of things so I don't forget, even though I feel like I'm gonna forget some stuff, but I'll try my best to go through everything. Starting November, December, I started to get a headache. At first, it was like coming and going, so I didn't think much of it because I did get a lot of headaches before, so I thought it was like normal, you know, migraine. And then in December, it started to get worse. Like, the headache was like, it would never go away. And then what I would feel also is if I looked down, my head would pound. It got to like a point, because I worked at a daycare, and it got to a point where I was like picking up toys and I would look down and it would like pound, and I would have to like stop and like close my eyes like this and stay for at least like 30 seconds because it hurt so much. And I got like a bunch of migraine medicine and like headache, like extra strength, like everything, and it wouldn't work. And it was like hurting up here on my nose and like right there. So, you know, I started to think maybe it's like a sinus infection. I never had one, so I don't know what it feels like. So then I went to the hospital, and so this was already like January. I decided to go to the hospital. So I went to the hospital and I was like, I don't know, I'm feeling headaches and I'm kind of like, it hurts right here, and I think it could be like a sinus infection. I guess like they heard that and that's what they ran with. So they were like, yes, they checked everything. They checked my ears, I remember this, and they were like, yeah, your ears is filled with fluids, so it's definitely a sinus infection. And they gave me antibiotics, and I left. So then that night I left, I got my antibiotics, I took that, and then my mom's friend made me this like medicine. It's like homemade medicine, and like you put like little drops in like water or whatever you drink, and then it's supposed to like help you with sinus infection. So then I put that also because I'm like, you know, extra help wouldn't kill me. So then I put it in my water and I drank it. I took my medicine and I went to sleep. So nights were the worst for me because that's when the pain was like so much. It was like really bad. So then I would wake up in pain. I would put like a heating pad, an ice pack, like whatever helped me, which wouldn't even really help, but you know. And then I woke up the next day, and then my husband had to go to work, and I was like, can you please stay with me? Like, I don't feel well. And that was already like the week where he missed kind of like the whole week to stay with me because I wasn't feeling that well. And he was like, oh, I don't think I could stay today because I already missed so much, like so many days, so I probably have to go to work today. And I was like, okay. So I drank water and he was in bed with me. And then after I drank the water, it was like literally 30 seconds, I was like, I have to go throw up. And like I ran and I didn't make it. So I like threw up all over the toilet seat. When I threw up, it was mostly liquid. So then I just like, I guess I was throwing up like the medicine and everything I took. So then I think I threw up twice or once, I don't really remember. And then he ended up taking me to the hospital. We went to the hospital, it was like 7 in the morning. We stayed until like 9 waiting in the waiting room because they didn't have like the area open. So I waited. When I got there, checked in, and I threw up 2 more times. And I remember when I was throwing up the 2 more times, it was like white things. It was like round white stuff, and I'm like, why am I throwing that up? Like, I've never threw that up before. Like, it was weird. So I was like, what's going on? Then they finally checked me in. They put me into a room, and it was like a shared room. And I was still with like a bad headache, and I was throwing up. So this is when I don't remember anything, because that's when I was sleeping most of the time, because I was getting a good night's sleep. Like I said, it would like be bad at night, so I would pretty much be waking up all the time. And I was sleeping, I would wake up, go to the bathroom, throw up, be in pain, and then they put me on medication, like through IV, and I forgot which one they put me on. It was like a really strong like medication. I don't know, I forgot the name, but that wasn't really working. My body was kind of rejecting that too, so I was like throwing that up. I had to be the one to ask the nurses to get me a head scan because my head was hurting so much, because they were trying to let me go home and they were trying to tell me it was just a sinus infection. And I was like, no, my head hurts really bad, like you need to do like a head scan or something. That's when they finally did, I guess, and like I said, I don't remember this. And then they told me that I had like a mass in my brain, and that's when they decided to get me transferred to Mass General, which is in Boston. So after that, they wanted to transfer me. They already called them, and they said that they were just waiting for an ambulance. This was already starting to be like nighttime, and this is when my husband went there to stay with me. We waited for about like 8 hours for this ambulance. It got to a point where my husband was like, is this ambulance coming? If not, I'll take her myself to the hospital. And they're like, no, like they're coming, I'm sorry, like another half an hour. It's just like, if you take her, she's gonna have to get checked into the ER. And we already have a room for her in the ICU. So if the ambulance takes her, she'll get transferred right away to the ICU, and she wouldn't have to go through the ER and all those things. So he's like, okay, so we waited. And then they finally came, they put me in the ambulance. I don't remember any of this, guys. They put me in the ambulance, they take me, my husband follows them, because he was gonna go inside, but since visiting hours at the hospital were like at 2, they didn't want him to like go with them and then stay there without a car and not be able to come back home, if anything. I got checked into the ICU, I guess, and I stayed like, I think this was 4 in the morning. I believe it was like 4 in the morning when I got there. So I went from staying in the hospital the day before, 7 a.m. until the next day they sent me to the other hospital. They transferred me to the other hospital at 4 in the morning. I got there, I guess my husband got there, they like told him that he couldn't go see me, he only could go see me at 2. So he came back home, couldn't go to sleep, went back to see me at 2, and that's when he went in the ICU room, saw me, and I was like normal. I'll insert pictures so you guys can see how I was. And then I guess like maybe 5-10 minutes he was in there seeing me. I had a seizure, and he had to get a nurse right away, so the nurse went in there, and they were like telling him to leave because this is like a life and death situation, so he couldn't stay in the room, so he had to leave. So I guess like an hour and a half he waited in like the waiting area, and when he came back in, and I'll insert the picture, I had like so many things on me. Like, they put a tube down my throat, they drained a hole in my head, so like they had to shave my head, so I have like my little hairs growing up here, but they shaved my head right here and they drained a hole in there to put a drain to get the liquid out. Because yes, the tumor was causing the headache, but what was making it worse was the liquid in my head, because where the tumor was located was like in the back of my head, which I'll put a picture so you guys can see, and it was getting so big that it was blocking the liquid to circulate in my brain. So that's what caused the seizure. And I guess that's when they like drained the hole, took the liquid out, they put a tube down my throat. When they did that, I did get pneumonia, which I did research, and it's normal for you to get pneumonia after like they put a tube down your throat. I already had COVID, I guess I had COVID at the time. Once they were putting the tube down, it punctured my lungs. So when that happened, liquid went inside my lungs, and they had to like take the liquid out also. They put like a little thing here, so they were able to get blood taken out. And I guess they were taking so much blood from me to get tested, to see everything, that they told my husband like she's getting weak, like she might need a blood transfusion, I think that's called.
Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong saying everything, because I know nothing about like hospital and stuff. I'm just telling my experience. So if I'm saying anything wrong, correct me.
They put me in an induced coma. So they would wake me up when he was there, then I would just be put to sleep like for the rest of the time there. And then they would wake me up if they had to ask me any questions, like if they wanted to know if I still had a headache, which the tumor that I had it's not cancerous, it was benign. It all happened when I was literally a fetus. So when I was in my mom's belly, I guess a piece of skin went into my head, like my brain, and it was just there. And I guess when I started to get those headaches that I got in November, December, it started to grow and grow and grow. And when it was growing, that's when it blocked the liquid, and then all this happened. That's also when the doctor went in and was like, you guys came at the right time, because if you guys didn't come in, she would have 2 days, like 2 days left, and she would have died. And then, so I'm thankful to God for, you know, protecting me and guiding me to go to the hospital at that moment. So I guess they did the surgery on a Thursday. And it took about like 9 hours long. I don't remember any of this. And that's one of the side effects of the brain tumor and the surgery. So they told my husband that what would happen to me I would have double vision, because where the tumor was, it affected my eyes. So when I would leave, like when the surgery was done, they took it out, I had double vision. So the other thing was memory loss, which the only memory loss that like I had was this whole experience before the surgery. Like I remember getting to the first hospital that I got to, they were telling me it was a sinus. But then after I got into the room, like I said, I was asleep, and then they were giving medication. I don't remember asking for a head scan. I don't remember any of those things. I just remember my husband telling me that that's what I did and that's what he told me to do. And then the other thing was walking and balance. Like, I wouldn't say I had to fully like learn how to walk again, because I knew how to walk. It was mostly balancing and strength. Like, I was so weak and tired. That's what I remember. And like balancing, I couldn't stand like by myself, stand still. Like walking, yes, I like knew like to take the steps and what to do, but I needed someone to help me because I couldn't do it on my own. I did have COVID, and I guess my husband got COVID, so he wasn't allowed to visit me anymore, which sucked. So then I got the surgery done. Everything went well, everything was good, thank God. And they called my husband to let him know like everything went perfect, that he was allowed to go see me the next day. and that was it. That was the only exception. Like, he could only see me after the surgery, but after that he couldn't go see me anymore because he had to get tested, which he was positive, and then he couldn't go visit me anymore because he had COVID. So I remember like him getting there, and I guess he was like really scared that I would forget who he was, because like at this moment we didn't know like what memory loss like I had. So I remember him walking in and I'm like, hi babe, and then I saw that he got happy, and he also made me a poster, which I'll insert the picture. It's upstairs, but I'm too lazy to go up there and get it right now, but I'll insert the picture so you guys can see like a little poster he made me. And I remember like I would just read it all the time. I remember he could only stay there for 2 hours, and this is when I get sad, because like I think about like all that happened, and I remember I'm like, I was so sad. I'm sorry. Okay. I remember I was so sad because like, what, for like 3 years I'm literally like sleeping with him. I'm with him all the time. This is the first time that we've been away from each other. Like, I'm not sleeping with him, like he's not next to me, like he has to leave. He couldn't even stay overnight in the hospital. So I was like really sad. I was like so sad that he had to go. So after the surgery, what they do is they put you on steroids, and it's not like the steroids you take at the gym obviously, but it's like they put you on steroids because of the swelling of your head.
I'm trying to explain it real easy because my husband said every time I tell my story to someone, I always say steroids and they don't understand like what I'm talking about, like while you're on steroids.
But like the steroids they had me on was to help the swelling in my brain, because I guess after they do the surgery your brain swells up and they want the swelling to go down, and steroids is the thing that helps with the swelling. So they had me on that, and one of the things that steroids does is you get hallucination. So I had 3 days of hallucination. Was not fun. Like, I hated every second of it. Like, I woke up, saw my husband, like I said, from the surgery. The next day I was like fine, but I was already starting to see hallucination, because he went in there, we were talking and everything, and I guess he said that like when I looked up, like my eyes were like this big, like wide open. And I remember him sitting there, we're talking, I'm like, do you see those people? Like, I saw people outside my hospital, and I'm like, do you see those people taking pictures of me? Like, they're just taking pictures of me. And he's like, no, there's no one there. Like, you're fine. And I'm like, no, like, I would see someone just standing there with their iPhone with a flash on and just taking, like, video of me or taking a picture of me. And he's trying to distract me and telling me like, no, like there's no one there, but like I swear I could see it. So then he went home, and that night was like not fun for me. I couldn't sleep, guys. I think I stayed like almost 2 days without sleeping because I was hallucinating and I was paranoid. And one of the things that I thought was that the nurse was trying to kill me. I was like, I'm sorry, but that's what I thought. Like, that was like my worst nightmare. Like, oh, you know those like scary movies where they like torture you and like the nurse or like whatever, they're trying to like kill you. That's what I was like. I thought I was in that. And I remember in that moment I'm like, God, please take me. Like, I'm sorry for anything I've done. Like, forgive me for anything. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, take me. Because I was convinced that I was gonna die. And like, little did I know that like God literally just saved me. I just had it in my head that they were trying to kill me. So I had this one guy nurse, and I was convinced that this guy like hated me and wanted to kill me, and I was so mean to him. Like, and I
apologize to you, Michael. It's not like you're ever gonna see the video, but I apologize.
I don't want to like get into much detail, but like the hallucination was not fun. Like, it's so weird because like I'm gonna explain what I saw and you guys are gonna be like, what? Like, what? Like, God, I would see like dried up ice cubes, huge ice cubes in my room, like just walking on its own. Like, how do you even like think of that? And I remember I would get thrown like dried ice. So at one moment I thought they threw it on like my feeding tube, which was like in my nose, and I pulled it out. And they had me tied up, and I was able to take it off. I don't know how. I think I would go like this, which I wasn't supposed to move that much because I literally had brain surgery. Pulled out my feeding tube out my nose. And I remember it was not easy, and it kind of hurt, and I was going like, I was like gagging because it's like down your throat, through your nose. And I remember it was sewed in here, so I took like a piece of skin, but now it's like not noticeable. It kind of is right here, but you can see that's what it's from. And then the other thing I did is I pulled out my IV because I was convinced that the nurse who put it there to put things in me to kill me. So I pulled it out. And then when the nurse came in, who knew how long I had pulled that out, like there was blood all over like the sheets in the hospital, like in my bed sheets. And she was like, why'd you do that? And I'm like, I'm so sorry. She was like, no, like you can't do that, like why would you do that? And I'm like, I don't know, like I'm so sorry. Like I was like the same time I was paranoid, I was also like so sorry for everything. So I was like apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry for doing that, like I'm really sorry. She's like, no, it's fine. And then she put a new one. And then I remember those were the two things I'd done. That was really bad. And another thing was, like I said, I didn't sleep for almost like 2 days because they were like, you need to sleep, you need to rest. And in my head, I'm like, they just want to sleep. They just want me to sleep so they can like put a pillow in my face so they can kill me. Like that's like all I was thinking. And like at night I would see like what I said, the ice cube things, and then I would see random like creatures in my room. And I remember one night there was like a random like man that I saw and kept like just trying to torture me, put his hand over my face, and I'm like, stop, like stop. And I kept like praying. I'm like, I rebuke you, like in the name of Jesus, like leave me alone. And I was just going through it, which if you're Christian, you know it's kind of like a spiritual battle thing, and that literally was what I was going through. And I remember my best friend would see me, and she sat there and we were talking, and I was like, so who's that person behind you? And mind you, she was sitting and it was like just a wall behind her. And she's like, what? There's no one here. And I was like, no, there's literally like someone behind you. And then I remember we were just watching videos on her phone, and because I didn't have my phone at the time when I was hallucinating, they didn't let me have my phone. My husband had it at home. And I remember we were watching a video, and I'm like, why is there like this man behind me? She's like, there's no one behind me. I'm like, this man, like he keeps walking back and forth behind my hospital bed. Like that's all I see, like all the time. And I'm like, why? And I remember like I tried to turn around and look, but I couldn't because I couldn't move that much. And she like prayed for me, and we like started to pray, put worship music on. And then I remember, I guess like she would take the string, because they had me tied up, she would take it out and like hold my hand. And I remember, I guess I like wanted to pull it out, like that's when I like took the opportunity, like, oh, my hand's free, like I need to get out of here, because my mission was to get out of the hospital. And in my head I was thinking that my husband was picking me up that night, and I was telling her, I'm like, yeah, Felipe's gonna pick me up today, like I just need to go to like the parking lot. That was my thing. I'm like, I need to go to the parking lot because he's already there waiting for me, and I need to get out of here. And I guess I took the opportunity, and I was trying to like leave, trying to get out. And I guess she said I was trying to take the drain out of my head, so she called the nurse in, and that's when he put it back on me. And I was like, why would you do that? Like, you're with them, you're trying to kill me too. Like, and that's what I was going through. So then after I started getting better, obviously they had like the tube in me so I can like pee and stuff. I asked them to take that out because I wanted to go to the bathroom on my own. Obviously I couldn't, like they had to help me, but they were like, obviously, yeah, like they were really supportive, and they helped me go to the bathroom, go back to bed. And that's like when everything hit me, was when I sat down in the hospital bed, and I was like, oh my god, like I can't do anything. I'm getting emotional again, because like that's when you realize you take so much for granted. Like walking and stuff, like I got up from my bed and like I've never been through that. Like just getting up and you have like no strength to do anything, like to protect yourself, to walk, to do anything. Like I just felt useless at that point. I'm like, what just happened to me? Like, why is this happening? I remember like getting up and it was so hard. I was so out of breath. And then that's when like I got up and everything went black. Because like I haven't like moved in like what, a week, like 2 weeks maybe already. This was like 2 weeks. Yeah, I haven't moved in like 2 weeks. And I remember like everything went black because I'm so weak. And I was like, oh my god, I can't see. And she's like, okay, like sit down, like breathe in, like, and then it like started to come back. And then like I saw it again and I was like so scared, because then when I had to pee again, I'm like, I'm really scared it's gonna happen. They're like, okay, so like just sit down. When you sit on the bed, take a deep breath, like, you know, get your body used to it, and then get up slowly and then like walk to the bed. And it happened like one more time after that, but like it was quicker than the first time. And then after I've done that, like physical therapy went in, walked back and forth with me, and they were talking about sending me to rehab so I can learn how to like do things again. But I guess I was getting better so fast that they're like, no, you can just go home. So then it got to the point where I was going to the bathroom on my own. So I still had the drain on my head because they kept it there, and I was holding it, the thing, and I was walking to the bathroom. The only reason why I didn't go home so fast, so quick after surgery, because I had the drain in my head. They were gonna take the drain out, and if it like didn't work out, then they would have to put like a tube like in me for something, like to help with the drain, like the liquid in my head. But thankfully, like thank God didn't allow that to happen, and everything went perfectly fine. So they did take out the drain, and they had to stitch me up. I thought like they were gonna do that, they were gonna put anesthesia to stitch me up so I wouldn't feel something, or at least numb it or something. But no, they literally took out the thing and they like stitched me up, and I was sitting there and I felt like a little bit of the liquid come down, and it was so painful. They like did 3 stitches in my head. Like it was so painful, and I'm like, why? Like why? And it's just like, okay, we're like done. And I had like the worst head pain ever after that. They gave me like this strong medication to like make it go away, which did help. It went away, but that was like the worst. That was like the worst for me. Thank God everything went good. So I stayed in the ICU for another day or 2 after that, and then they put me in another room, which I guess when you get put into that room, I forgot what it's called, that's when you get to go home like a day or 2 after that. So when I got put into that room, like I stayed the night there like I said, and then I remember my husband could visit me the next day, which he did. I was really excited because I hadn't seen him in like 2 weeks, because I was in the hospital for about like 3 weeks. Right when my husband gets there, like the nurse comes in, she's like, you're going home today. And I was like, thank God. And I like text my husband, I'm like, I'm going home, like I'm so, and he comes up and I see him, and it was like the best time ever, and I hugged him, and like I got to go home that day, which was like the best time. But that's when I get home, everything's perfect, good, and then like 2 days when I'm home, I get like this stomach pain that I felt like throwing up, and like I just felt full, and like it was not good, and I kept getting the shakes. So we called the doctor, and they said they were gonna get back to us about it. So 2 days go by and I'm like not eating, because I was eating fine before, and then I stopped eating because I didn't want to feel sick, and I wasn't eating anymore. So then I got really weak again, because I was already weak, like I didn't have strength, and then I got super weak again, and I couldn't even walk to the bathroom. Like there was a point at night where I woke up, I was like, babe, you have to like carry me because I don't think I can do it. I was like running out of breath, like I could barely breathe. And then they finally called, and then they gave me this medicine to help with the stomach pain. So I guess what I was having is I was having withdrawal from like all the medication they had me on in the hospital for all those 3 weeks, and my body like just wanted that. And that's when I got scared. So I'm like, I don't want to be like addicted to those things. But thankfully, like, that didn't happen. She prescribed me medication for the stomach pain, and it went away. And I finally got better, felt better. And then I had to go do physical therapy, occupational therapy. And I did like maybe 3 or 4 times physical therapy. She like discharged me. She said I was like perfectly good. And then I did occupational, but it was mostly for my eyes. It got better a little, but not as much. So then I had to go to the eye appointment, doctor appointment, and he focuses mainly on that stuff, like brain stuff. And my eyes, it would go to the side on its own, to the other side on its own, and that's called strabismus. And I'll put a picture or put a video of what my eyes was doing, like how I had to wear glasses. And then I actually recently got surgery done for that. You can see that it's kind of red still, but yeah. So I got surgery done on both eyes so he could align my eyes, so my eyes could be straight and not move on its own. And that's supposed to help also with double vision, which did a little. Yes, it did. Like, obviously my double vision isn't as bad as it used to be, but I still have some a little bit to the sides, which he said that could happen. But I have to wait at least like 6 weeks to see, because that's how long it takes to recover from the surgery, to see like if your brain like adapted to it. Like, so I have to wait for my brain to get used to seeing normal. But if it doesn't 100% go back to normal, which I'm praying it will, if it doesn't, then they'll put prism in my glasses to help with that. That's what happened, like with my eyes and what's going on with that, because obviously like my strength came back, thank God. It was really hard. Like, I have literally videos of myself walking and crying with my husband, because I'm like, at the moment you think you're never gonna go back to yourself and how you used to be, which I did, thank God. Like, God helped me through all of it, and friends and family and my husband. But it was hard. It still is, you know. You think about everything you went through, and like, I think about it till this day. Obviously it's been 10 months, but it still like affects me, and I still get sad, and like, that's fine. It's okay to get sad. I'm just glad I didn't have any other really bad side effect from this like brain tumor that I had, because you know, you hear a lot of stories of other people and like what they go through, and like, it's worse than me. And that's what I kept thinking too. Like, I was going through so much, like something that I never imagined would happen to me in my life, and I would get sad, and I would like hate my life for it, hate everything, be so upset with everything. But then I would sometimes catch myself and stop, because I'd be like, there's people in the world that are going through worse. Yes, I am allowed to feel what I feel, but I should also be thankful and grateful to God and to those doctors that were able to help me get me to be better, and to help me even be able to live right now. Which honestly, I'm taking my own advice right now, because sometimes I just feel like depressed and sad, and I feel like, oh, no one really cares. Like, you tell your story, and I feel like no one really cares like what I'm saying or like what I went through. And like, some people don't, some people do, but that's why I wanted to come here. Like, obviously, like, I didn't tell everything to details, because like this video would be like literally like 3 hours long, but I just wanted to make a video in case like someone is going through the same thing and wanted to like see what it's like. And you know, guys, yes, I want to be able to help people. I've been through so much, and one day I'll tell my other stories that I have, but this is my testimony. Like, God helped me, those doctors helped me, and I'm just thankful that I'm here. And my camera's dying, so I have to go. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll make more videos soon, and I miss doing this, and I love you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye, God bless you.